No, before I start my Tennessee Titan video, I want you to take a look at this video hyping up the Titans 2022. We're still the AFC South champs. Let's get it going, baby. We're going to talk about the offseason. We're going to talk about the moves, what I expect in the free agency more going forward, and what I expect in the draft coming up right after this. Tighten up!
Titan blood running through our veins. Get loud, put your hands up, let the whole world hear this sound. We rise like champions, let them know our time is now. So get loud and tighten up. Get loud, climbing up the rubble from the struggle, breaking up the hustle. We can't stop. You can see the hunger and thunder in our eyes. Shout it out, Music City, come alive. 3, 2, 1. Get loud, put your hands up, let the whole world hear this sound. We rise like champions, let them know our time is now. So get loud and tighten up. Tighten up. Tighten up. Get loud. Put your hands up. Let the whole world hear this sound. We rise like champions. Let them know our time is now. So get loud. And tighten up. Get loud.
Yes. Titan hype up video there, ladies and gentlemen. Big Kev's World. I am Big Kev here coming at you, and I haven't done a football video in a while. And I thought, maybe I would come in and give you guys a little bit of a treat. I did the WrestleMania panel with PK Valor. It was supposed to be him and Superstar. We will be doing part 2 this week, Wednesday at 7 o'clock, for the whole WrestleMania thing before the big WrestleMania event next weekend, WrestleMania 38. Also, got an interview with Big Remington from from the Asylum. We're working on getting the details for that as well, and working on doing some paranormal talk and some other stuff here. That's going to be really cool, really exciting here on Big Kev's World for all of you, and for those of you who have still stayed sub to me during this whole time. I appreciate it. Thank you for the love and support. But let's get down to brass tacks now. So the Tennessee Titans ended their season 13-10, and they lost to Cincinnati, divisional round. And there's a lot to talk about since that happened. One of the most important things is that Mike Vrabel earned Coach of the Year. I didn't know if he was going to get it. I really believe that he deserved to have it, but I didn't know if Coach Vrabel was going to get it or if it was going to be, Matt LaFleur from the Packers. The Packers had a really great season last season, and but for all the injuries and all the turmoil that we went through as a town, as a city, as a state, and as a team, we I will say Coach Vrabel did a hell of an amazing job of getting us to the certain spot that we needed to be at. And here's the thing. I have some little things here to say about that. People were asking, a friend of mine was asking me the other day, what did I think about Julio Jones and the move that we made to get Julio last year? And now we parted ways with Julio. And what my impression was, I feel like we overhyped it last year. Julio is not the same Julio Jones that we saw a couple years ago catching those balls from Matt Ryan in Atlanta. Not the same guy. He was dealing with a lot of issues, hamstring issues last year. But when he was on for us towards the end, I saw flashes of the old Julio. Do I think that we should have gave him another shot this year? Yes, I do. I feel like we should have at least saw what we had with him first before we made that trade. But I understand that the cap money, cap casualties, certain teams have more cap than others, which I think is fucking absolutely bullshit in this league. I think it's absolute, complete, utter bullshit. But I ain't mad at what we did. We got rid of him, and then we got Robert Woods. And Robert Woods is an improvement. Robert Woods fits the system that we're looking for here in Tennessee. Yes, he's coming off that torn ACL, but I do believe that ACL injuries are hard to come by. Look at what happened with Taylor Lewan last year. It took him a little bit to get going. Took Bud Dupree a little bit to get going. Now Bud Dupree is fully 100% healthy this season. Hopefully Taylor Lewan is staying healthy this season. I thought Taylor Lewan was going to be a cap casualty. I was afraid about that because Taylor Lewan's kind of that heart and soul of that offensive line, along with him and Ben Jones. So it was important that we kept Ben Jones in. Now, what stinks is that we had to get rid of Roger Stafford, but I wish him well in Buffalo. Buffalo's got a hell of a left guard right there and a freak of nature. Have you seen Roger Stafford's like workout videos? That's a freak of nature right there. But the biggest off-season stuff we had to do was we got this really good assistant offensive coordinator. You know, we'll see what he does for us. A lot of Titan fans after the playoffs, they wanted Ryan Tannehill's head on a silver platter. And I was one of those guys who wanted his head on the silver platter. But the more I've had time to process that game against the Bengals, and the more I've had time to process things, Ryan Tannehill had a lot to do last season with little weapons that he had. Yes, he had Chester Rogers and Des Fitzpatrick, who I felt like the Titans wasted a lot of time on. There's a guy that a lot of people like that was in the training camp called Mason Kinsley, who's a wide receiver. We'll see what he does during the offseason. I hope he gets up in there too, because I think Mason Kinsley has a bright future on the Tennessee Titans wide receiver core. But when you had A.J. Brown hurt, you had Julio hurt, you really didn't have a solid number one tight end, and you had a offensive line that was banged up. You had King Henry, who was having a monster year before that foot injury. I think he would have broke the record if he wouldn't have had that foot injury. I seriously really believe that he would have broke that record that Eric Dickerson had. But you have to keep in mind that Tannehill, some Titan fans feel like Tannehill showed the signs of a man whose age is starting to get to him. And he's not an older guy. I mean, he's in his early to mid 30s. He's not like an old guy, but yes, the Titans need to worry about their future with the quarterback position. And during the offseason, I kept hearing stuff about Aaron Rodgers. I'd get messages on Facebook, but hey, man, Aaron Rodgers is building a house here in Nashville, or Aaron Rodgers is doing this, or well, maybe we might get Russell Wilson. I didn't feed into it because I knew how J-Rob and I know how Mike Vrabel are. They like to keep their system that they have intact now. And with Coach Vrabel winning Coach of the Year, are you going to disagree with him? No. I mean, there's certain plays that Vrabel does and that I'm sure us Titan fans, we don't always agree with. And I'm sure J-Rob, as much as we love him as general manager, he makes mistakes. Isaiah Wilson, for example, the right tackle, that was a mistake. The whole Julio Jones trade was a mistake. But he's also hit home runs with those mistakes as well. So, but to make no excuses for Tannehill now, he went out and got him a number one tight end in Austin Hooper. Now, Hooper, I think, is going to see here. Look at something real quick. The thing about Austin Hooper is he had a really good seasons when he played for Atlanta. He didn't play that well with Cleveland last year, but Austin Hooper has every ability to become a number one tight end. And why the Titans felt like Fursker would be a number one tight end is beyond me. When we lost Juwan Smith to New England last year, that was a big blow, and it was a real big blow to us. And, you know, a tight end to a quarterback is a security blanket. Look what Brady does with Gronk. It is a very big security blanket. And playing football, playing the quarterback position before, I can honestly tell you, yes, the tight end is a very, very good spot to have. It's like, and it's really a security blanket. It's like, oh, that's my blanket. My. So I feel like the Titans are going to put some pieces around Tannehill this year. It's kind of well, we're backing you. I feel like what the Titans front office is doing is pretty much telling Tannehill this. We're riding and dying. We stood up for you. We took up for you. We told everyone we're going to ride this wave. We're going to ride this wave one more time. If you mess up again, you have a bad season again, you're out. And I think that's exactly what's going on for Tannehill. And from what I heard, Tannehill is already looking at game film from last year. He's already studying his mistakes. I mean, that's great. I mean, Tannehill is not a bad regular season quarterback, but I think us here in Nashville, here in Tennessee, that's great that you're good during the regular season, but we want more. And there's no reason in this world why we should not have beaten the Cincinnati Bengals in the division round. We had them. And for you Who Dey Nation, you know it, I know it. And if you deny it, then you're just lying to yourself in the mirror. There is no way a team like us get 9 sacks against the Cincinnati Bengals and not have chances to win. We had a chance to win. We blew it. Two of those interceptions that Tannehill threw were bopped in the air, caught. That happens. Can't do anything about it. But that last one he did was no excuse. It was a dumb throw. We should have been running the ball, which is what we were good at. Not only did we have like not a semi-healthy Derrick Henry, but we had a pretty good Derrick Henry. And we had a Deontay Foreman. We could have easily ran that ball down Cincinnati's throat. Cincinnati's defense is not very good at stopping the run. So we could have easily won that game. And I look back at it and I'm like, and it irks me that we had that opportunity and we let it slip through our fingers. But the good news is we re-signed the beast man himself, Harold Landry, who was a steal in the draft. I remember he had that injury in the draft and no one wanted to pick him up in the first round. So we picked him up in the second round, and I thought, man, that was a steal. And the same thing with Christian Fulton. He's proven right now that was a steal in the draft. Harold Landry got his money. I was scared because I didn't know what they were going to do because the Titans tend to have that history of letting people walk away. And I was like, please do not let Harold Landry walk away. That's one of the heart and souls of that defense, along with Kevin Byard and along with Jeffrey Simmons. You have to keep that tact, especially with Autry, Simmons, Bud Dupree, and Harold Landry. That's your front four. That front four did a lot of damage last year. So if we would have lost Harold Landry, that would have been a huge blow to what we're building here in Tennessee and what we are building for the future. And signing Harold Landry was a must. No matter the cost, no matter how many other players you were going to lose, you needed Harold Landry in. So we got that in there. Ben Jones, one of the best centers in the league, one of the most durable centers in the league. Like I said, him and Taylor Lewan were the heart and souls of that offensive line. So getting him back was a very good piece of that puzzle. But what did the Titans lose besides? They lost Deontay Foreman, and I would have loved to kept him as a backup running back for Derrick Henry. I felt like Foreman stepped in there. He did his job. I know that he's in Carolina now, backing up Christian McCaffrey, but we lost a really good running back right there, and that's just, oh my gosh, we lost a real good one there. Jackrabbit Jenkins is gone. I knew he was going to be gone. I mean, he wasn't that bad for us, but he wasn't that good for us. I feel like we got really good corners for the future. If Caleb Farley can come off his injury and he comes off healthy, Elijah Molden was doing well. Christian Fulton's doing well. I think we got a little good future there in the corner position. Now, what we're going to do with the middle linebacker. Now, what we did smart was we brought in Zach Cunningham, who's a hell of a linebacker from Houston. And, he knows Vrabel. Vrabel knows him from being a linebacker coach and a defensive coordinator once for Houston. He knew how valuable he was. And what was great about it is we restructured his deal that kept him in check. So now we were able to keep that in check. And David Long came into his own. Yeah, a couple of injuries last year, but I think that we're going to be okay. Even if we lost Brown and even if we lose Rashad Evans, we'll be fine in that position. I feel like that Rashad Evans, I was really big on when they drafted him in the first round, the same year they drafted Harold Landry. I was really big on Evans. And there was one year where Evans, I think it was our playoff year when we got to the AFC Championship, Evans played his heart out. And then after that, he just went down this little decline slope. Don't know what it was. I don't know if it was injuries or what was going on, but it was a huge decline. And so that's another thing that we're looking at. But now we got the draft coming up. I'm a little worried because we did a lot of damage getting in. We did a lot of damage to that Julio Jones trade. So there's a rumor going around. It's a Titan Nation. I don't know if majority of y'all have heard this, but there's a rumor going around about the Titans drafting a quarterback in the first round. Now, there's not a lot of good quarterbacks in this one. It's not a deep draft for quarterbacks. It's a deep draft this year, but not for quarterbacks. And let's see. So the Titans are interested in getting a quarterback to back up Ryan Tannehill. Now, Look at Matt Corral from Ole Miss, who's a 6'2", 212-pounder. Last year in 13 games, he completed 262 out of 386 passes, 67.9% for 3,349 yards. And with 20 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, they could go that route. But the plus about Matt is considered a tough player, excellent leader, has strong arms, can make a good deep throws, mobile enough to run for 614 yards and 11 touchdowns. The con for him is the lack of size could lead to injuries, especially when combined with the competitive nature. Many of his passes come in from run-pass options or play actions. Some doubt as well as he can translate into the NFL game. Now, Tannehill does really good with the play-action pass. The Titans like doing the play-action pass. My only thing about this guy is that he's really good. He's got a good upside, the mechanics that you need to keep the ball running, and Tannehill can spread the defense too. He can spread that offense with his legs as well. But I'm not sold on Matt Corral. I'm not sold on Matt Corral. There's Sam Howell from North Carolina, 6'1", 218-pounder. What's good about him from North Carolina is that he has a strong arm, has shown good mobility in and out of the pocket, ran for 828 yards, 11 touchdowns last season. And the type of quarterback that you're looking for now, if you look at a guy like Russell Wilson, you look at a guy like Patrick Mahomes, you look at a guy like Lamar Jackson, not only do they make plays with their arm, well, especially more Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes, what you're looking for is a guy that can also throw the football and run the football. And that takes a little bit of pressure off of Derrick Henry. And I think that would be a good thing. The thing I don't like about Howe is he doesn't have a quick release. He holds onto the football for too long. Doesn't have a big frame. He'll have to show that he can produce an offense that's so much based on RPOs and his running ability. Now, Kenny Pickett. Now, this guy has been talked about on other Titan video makers like Titans Upload and Titans Anderson. 6'3", 217 pounds. Now, he didn't have really good seasons, but last year he came out there with 4,319 yards, 42 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He's a tall kid. The one thing I love about him is he has a strong arm, good frame. He's considered more accurate than his completion percentage. He has a mobility in him. 98 carries for 223 yards, 5 touchdowns last season. The only thing that's bad, the things that are bad about Pickett is depending on how an improvement his hand is, because he doesn't have really big hands. Especially considering that he was a frequent fumbler in college. That's another thing too. Pickett has very small hands. Apparently, he has 8.5-inch hand, which is really bad, especially if you hold on to the football too long in the NFL. The fumble, and he doesn't have a quick release, and that's something else that you have to look at it too. With a quarterback like Kenny Pickett is, you got the small hands. You're holding on to the football for too long. And it's NFL is a lot more faster than college football. So that's another thing that you have to look at if you're the Titans and you want to draft a quarterback in the first round, which I don't think that they will. I mean, now here's a guy whose name's been mentioned quite a few times. I know the Prodigal Hills mentioned this to me, and a couple of guys have mentioned this to me. Malik Willis from Liberty, 6'1", 219 pounds. Last year in 13 games, he completed 207 of 339 passes, 61.1%, 2,857 yards, 27 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. He has a very powerful arm and ability to throw from all angles. He has tremendous IQ, evidenced by his 878 yards rushing and 13 touchdowns. The downside for Malik Willis is consistency is an issue. He's been criticized for staring down the targets and has a tendency to leave the pocket too quickly. So that's what we're looking at. If we are going to draft a quarterback, that's what we're looking at. Now, a lot of people say that Kenny Pickett will be off the board before we even have a chance to draft him, which is a possibility if another team likes him, or maybe J-Rob makes a trade to get up there to get him. I don't know, but there's a lot of stuff that we still have holes to fix. We still need that third receiver. We still need a left guard to take over the spot of Roger Stafford. We even need maybe another tight end, like a second big tight end for Tannehill. I do think that if we do address the free agent, if we address the quarterback thing, if Tannehill goes down, Logan Woodside would not be the guy that can lead us. So you definitely are going to need a backup QB. Whether we do that in free agency or before training camp, I still think that we're going to possibly maybe draft a quarterback. But I don't know if I would use my first round pick on a quarterback when you have so many options that you need to do. We can get another big corner to fix in with our free agent, with our good young corner system that we got. I think it's going to be an offensive player that we get. Who that will be, I don't know, but I'm going to work on getting an NFL talk here with some people before the draft. Get a couple guys together. There's one guy I know on here named Nick Fargo who's very good at looking at the draft boards and mock boards. He's very good at that kind of thing. So we'll get him on here and we'll see what he thinks the Titans might do in these in the draft and stuff. And I will say this though. So far, what we've done in the free agent market, I know some Titans fans are scratching their head because they're thinking, what the hell is the Titans doing? They're not doing anything. What the hell? We're not doing anything. And then, boom, we made that trade for Robert Woods. We got Austin Hooper in. And you're like, okay. So we're getting certain players that we need to get. I still think we need a third receiver. And the reason why I say we need a third receiver is because if A.J. Brown can stay healthy and if Robert Woods doesn't get over his ACL as quickly as he needs to, we still need that third receiver that can come in there and carry that load. And we need to re-sign, if we can, we need to re-sign Chester Rogers. I liked how he played with us last season. We also need another tight end. So we need that, the tight end sets that we got. We need a tight end that can block and that can stretch the field for us. And I think that that's something that they're looking for with Austin Hooper. It was a good idea to sign him to a 1-year deal because you don't know what you're getting with him. So, I mean, I think that was a smart move by J-Rob is to do that. So what do I feel that they're doing so far? Well, you see the free agent market right now. We're going to talk about that in our big old giant talk when I get some of the guys on here together. What I'm seeing in the free agent market, it's like if you turn around, it's like a big trade everywhere. I mean, the AFC West is looking very dangerous right now. Russell Wilson going to Denver, Chandler Jones and Devontae Adams going to the Raiders, J.C. Jackson, Kayla Mack, Boza on the other side here with the Chargers, and I'm really good. I mean, and Kansas City is over there rechanging things as well, and that AFC West is going to be a good one to look at. This trade, though, Deshaun Watson going to Cleveland, the picks that Houston got, I think the Texans are going in the right direction with their picks, and they're going to have to start rebuilding their team. The Colts were nipping at our toes last year with just Carson Wentz, and they improved. I feel like even though Matt Ryan's older than Carson Wentz, I feel like Matt Ryan's more of a winner. He's a proven winner. than Carson Wentz is. So now we have to have the Colts still nipping in our toes. The Jaguars are still in that rebuilding mode, so I'm not looking for Jacksonville to cause any scene, but I do believe that Houston is building in that right direction, and I also believe that the Colts are going to be right there at our toes. There's just so many different trades. It's like when you turn around, it's like, well, all right, well, Carson Wentz is going to the Washington, and you have Marcus Mariota going with Arthur Smith in Atlanta. Then you have Matt Ryan going to the Colts, and you have Tyreek Hill going to the Dolphins, and Juju going to the Chiefs. It's like a carousel right now. The NFL is just like a spinning image. And if you guys have Madden 22 like I do, it's hard to kind of keep up with that because you're like, wow, so now Von Miller was with the Rams, he was with the Broncos, he was with the Rams, now he's with the Buffalo. So it's like a real large cycle. And then Tom Brady, after 40 days, decides, hey, I'm going to come back now. So now you have that. It's like it's been a real roller coaster because you didn't know what Aaron Rodgers was going to do. And then Rodgers comes back to Green Bay. And it's just Pittsburgh got Mitch Trubisky, which I'm sure the Steelers fans are – I don't know how much you Steelers fans are happy about that or not, but it's a carousel right now, and everybody's trying to get better. Everyone's trying to sign everybody to these big lucrative deals. And I feel like players don't deserve big lucrative deals. I feel like players should have like 1 or 2 year contracts. So it keeps the teams having more money. Now, what bothers me about this is the big market teams like Green Bay, like Philadelphia, like Dallas, those big market city teams seem to have more, even though they pay a lot of money for them, but they seem to be able to keep some of their players. And it's like teams like mine, like Nashville. Nashville's not necessarily a big city market. And so with Nashville, you have the Titans going to the playoffs, and they're going to the playoffs 3 straight years in a row, 2-time AFC South champs, but you're still getting over the cap, and you're like, wow, how much, can we get some money here, guys? Come on. But other news, the Titans are looking into getting a new stadium. Our mayor here, Mayor Bushybrow, I like to call him, says that Nashville is not an entertainment city. And I'm sitting there thinking, dude, have you been downtown? Have you seen downtown Nashville? We have the Preds here. Have you not seen Preds fans during the NHL? Have you not seen Titan fans? Come on now. But he says it's up to the Titans to get a new stadium, and I don't know what's going to happen with that. I do know that they're working on getting a new stadium because I sure as hell would like to keep them here. That's just my opinion on that. So, anyways, tighten up, Titan Nation. Let me know, football fans, what you guys think about the offseason, what you guys think about the Titans possibly drafting a quarterback. Who would you think would be the best position of the guys that I mentioned? We got a real hard schedule this year because we got the AFC West on our schedule this year. Every single AFC West team. And it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be easy. We have the NFC East as well. Not really worried about the East except for maybe the Cowboys. But other than that, maybe the Eagles. Depends. But I'm not really looking forward. I'm not really worried about that too much because we usually have good records against the NFC East and against the NFC period. So I'm not really worried about that position as well. But I will say this, though. Whatever the Titans do, I'm behind them 100%. Now, I was behind them when they came here. I was behind them during the good, the bad, and the ugly. I feel like we're very close to getting certain pieces, but we're also in an AFC league where you have teams improving. You have the Chiefs still there. The Bengals are there. You got the Broncos that are improving, the Chargers that are improving, Dolphins are trying to improve. The Bills are right there still. The Patriots are there, and it's a very hard road to get to the Super Bowl. More if you're in the AFC than the NFC. No disrespect to you NFC people out there. No disrespect. I'm just saying that right now the AFC is kind of the place to be. So this is Big Kev from Big Kev's World. I opened up my arms and welcomed you guys to my world. So now I'm going to close that down. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Hope everybody stays safe, stay healthy. And for now, I'm out.